Season 5, Episode 47 of Bracket, Bubble, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Linskin. Jonathan, how you doing tonight?
I am doing just phenomenal, Sam. I have told you that I have begun the process of finding a new NFL team to root for next year, or not. I'm not going to force myself to pick a team if I don't think there's a good option out there. But I'm done with the team that plays a little bit south of here.
Okay. That's where we're going to start off tonight. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. We're not really going to go deep into much of the stuff that has happened over the last week. I hope you guys enjoyed our coach interviews with Talvin Hester and Lenny Acuff. I hope you guys listened to them and enjoyed what we provided for you. It was some good content. It's not very long either, about 15 minutes apiece. If you have 20 minutes, you can listen to it on 1.5 speed, and you can get through both of them. That's a car ride, not even a car ride for like if you're going to the doctor's office, drive to the doctor's office, turn it on, wait in the waiting room, and you're done. But yeah, we did some of those. We're going to have some more of those coming up. I have a feature going out on Saturday morning, and I am at the Jordan Holiday Classic tomorrow morning through tomorrow night, and then again on Saturday. So a big weekend for me in high school hoops. I'll have 14 games over the next 2 days. Jonathan, what's coming up for you?
Yeah, so I'm actually heading tomorrow over to the Jack Tosh Holiday Classic at York High School. A decent amount of Division I, mostly mid-major talent over there, but a couple high major kids that I'll be checking out. Might hop over to Hinsdale. A couple other players I want to see over there. Maybe one more stop at Wheeling, just because that's where my high school plays, and they're now in the semifinals. So yeah, busy week for me. Always love this week of Illinois high school basketball with all the the holiday tournaments going on.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of games. I'm excited to see Bullis against Columbus tomorrow. That's the Boozer twins against Eric Ryby and Adrian Stevens. Lehigh plays Columbus on Saturday. We've got Penn Charter against the Patrick School. Phelps School against George School tomorrow.
Patrick School has a kid that I think you and I really like.
Brandon Lee.
Yeah, I these kids change schools so much now that I have to make sure that they're still there.
Yeah, Patrick School especially. They have a lot of kids that are new every year.
Yeah.
Then we got Christ the King, Paul VI. That's tomorrow night. Bullis plays Stepanak on Saturday night. Dynamic.
I will also be seeing a Christ the King play tomorrow. Not the same one as you, though.
That would be pretty impressive if they were to fly all the way to Chicago after a game, or fly all the way from Chicago before a game, because it's a night game that they have in New York. But all right, we need to get into kind of a mid-season check-in type thing. I don't really want to go too deep into any of the stuff that we're talking about. Just kind of briefly sum up what we saw this weekend. Jonathan, what did you see last weekend and then at Diamond Head?
So I guess I'll start with Diamond Head. I thought Nebraska was super impressive. I know they were supposed to win it, and they were supposed to be the best team there, but I thought the way they looked was really good. I'm not going to take a complete L because they're not going to, I don't think, be a tournament team, but they are better than I thought they were going to be in the preseason. And Bryce Williams, as long as if Nebraska stays like surface level, not like bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten, I believe Bryce Williams should probably get some Player of the Year consideration in that league.
He's really good. Princeton over Rutgers was really impressive on Saturday. I thought, man, Caden Pierce, he had a struggle kind of early in the season. He wasn't quite as good as he was last year, but he had a huge game, 21 points, 14 rebounds, had the game-winning shot, a masterclass of a call by John Fanta on that as well. UConn escaped against Butler at Hinkle. Alex Caravan hit shots. Liam McNeely hit shots. Butler played pretty well, but UConn was able to get the job done. And then you had the CBS Sports Classic. 2 big wins. You can check out my takeaways from that on Daily Dose of Hoops. You can also check out my column on Georgetown after they beat Seton Hall Sunday night.
I very much recommend reading the Georgetown one.
That's one of my favorite pieces I've read in a long time. I will actually put that one up for you right now. You know what? I'll link it in the that's something I think I'm going to start doing. Linking my stories from the week in the description.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're watching right now and you can see the screen, you can see the column that I wrote on some of the column that I wrote on Georgetown. It went up like midnight Monday, but from Sunday night.
Yeah, it was a good one. Recommend checking it out. You know, Ed Cooley has, you know, we may have been too harsh on him.
I think we absolutely were too harsh on him. I'm ready to say it. I'm ready to, like, Thomas Sorber is a program-changing player, but we were absolutely too harsh on Ed Cooley, just considering the fact that this is a guy that built the culture at Providence, and Georgetown was in a spot. And you can, at this point, you can kind of write year one at Georgetown off as, hey, he was banking on getting Hopkins and Carter to come with him, and they didn't. And then that's kind of why Providence had the Ed Cooley vibes last year, but Ed Cooley didn't.
Yeah,
and this Georgetown team feels like an Ed Cooley basketball team. They will grind you. They will defend. They have a rim protector, and they have wings that are tough. Micah Peavy is tough. Caleb Williams is tough. He makes winning plays. And man, they didn't need Malik Mack. They went on the road and they won without Malik Mack in the Big East. They went at home and they won without Malik Mack in the Big East by a lot. I do think they're going to need Malik Mack when they're at their best. But, I mean, they got some good minutes out of Curtis Williams as well. Micah Peavy rocks, and Jaden Epps went down with a little bit of an injury in the second half of this game. Micah Peavy had to play point guard for a little bit, and he struggled, but he soldiered.
Yeah, I just think that with Georgetown, like, you know, obviously 10-2 at this point, 66th in Ken Palm, 2-0 in the Big East. Only losses are to a healthy Notre Dame team, who I thought was actually, like, solid when they were healthy, and a road loss at West Virginia. Otherwise, it's been a pretty flawless start to the season for Georgetown. Exactly what you want. And I think what's important is, like, you know, Cooley flipped this identity in one off season. You know, flip the culture, flip the identity, whatever you want to call it. You can call it both. But yeah, getting Thomas Sorber was a program changing move, and getting Caleb Williams looks to be a program changing move for down the line. You know, they kept, like, the guys that they thought could actually impact winning in the building, and everyone else was gone.
Yeah, that being, like, basically Drew Fielder and Jaden Epps. Like, that's it, really. They didn't really do much else in terms of keeping guys. So big moves this offseason by Cooley. I wasn't sure if it was going to pay off, but they've had a great, and just the difference. It's not the backcourt defense that was a problem. It was the front court defense that was the problem. Going from Supreme Cook, who might have been the worst post defender in high major basketball, to Thomas Sorber, who is maybe a top 5 post defender in college basketball. Mm-hmm. That has completely flipped the identity of this program. They are tough. Thomas Sorber is tough. Georgetown goes to Marquette on January 7th, hosts UConn on January 11th, goes to the Garden on January 14th. We will know a lot more about the Hoyas when we wake up on January 15th. We'll probably do a podcast the night of January 14th, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, maybe not, considering it's a lot harder for me to get back from the dome than it was last year. But we'll definitely do a podcast either the 14th or the 15th.
Yeah, we will figure that out for sure.
And yes, we will be doing a lot more podcasts come the second half of the season. We'll bring back the bringing on a guest after their team plays, beat writers, fans, notable Twitter accounts.
Yeah, we really got into a good rhythm in the second half of the season when conference play got going. Just getting representatives to talk about different teams from all over the country.
Because we talk a lot about a lot of teams, and that's what we're gonna do right now. Let's talk a lot about a lot of different teams, Jonathan.
Yes.
Let's check in. I tweeted out
Oh, by the way, can I do it real quick before you start here?
1 sec. I gotta
No. You don't know what I'm talking about.
It's not that.
Nope, you don't know what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
So they took a 27-point loss on Saturday, so I have to ask, any thoughts on Syracuse?
No. That's an end of show thing, I thought.
Hey, we went over a couple of Saturday results. I felt it was appropriate, wanted to get it in.
Do you want to do one?
A Syracuse thought process?
No.
A Valley update?
Yes.
You know what? Why not?
Keep it very quick.
Okay, I will keep it quick. So we had I actually forget real quick where we left off here, but we had a couple big games.
All right, that's it. We're done.
What? I was getting there.
We're done.
We got a couple big wins over the weekend.
We're gonna go over the Valley. We're gonna go over every conference.
Okay, we'll get there.
All right, Jonathan. I tweeted out the top 25 offenses, defenses, and overall teams since December.
I actually would have been very excited to talk about this.
Since December 2nd, the day after Feast Week ended. What was your biggest takeaway?
I mean, obviously, like North Dakota State at 11 is probably the easiest one to look at. But
I kind of can write that off as some wild shot variance.
You want a Valley update? North Dakota State over the last month or so been a top 15 team according to Torvik. You know who beat them
on the Valley?
You know who beat them on the road earlier in the year?
Southern Illinois.
Illinois State.
Oh, Southern Illinois beat them at Southern Illinois by 25. Jesus Christ. My takeaways, I think my takeaways are if you split it up into offense and defense. If you look at offense, Northern Iowa is number 9. Valley update.
Yeah, how about that?
Cornell is 13th. Mizzou is 17th. Belmont is 22nd. Texas State is 24th. Mm-hmm. And if you go to defense, St. Bonaventure is 5th. 23rd in turnover rate, 20th in effective field goal percentage. Northwestern is 8th. San Francisco is 11th. George Mason is 15th. Little Rock is 23rd. Lamar is 26th. Youngstown State is 32nd. Some serious identity flipping from Ethan Faulkner in that program. 2 years ago, they were, I think, top 100 in offense and bottom 100 in defense. Now they are completely flipped as a team because of Gabe Dine's presence. It's huge for what they bring to the table. Do you want to talk about any of these teams in the top 25 just a little bit? I mean, Auburn's offense is 139.3 in this span. They are the best team in college basketball. It is not particularly close.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think, just looking at the overall list here, there's a couple teams I want to mention. Yep. Arizona being at 4 is weird because they really have not beaten anyone good in that span. They'll need to get it rolling in Big 12 play. Texas Tech at 9. Now, this is a team that I don't think really anyone's heard a peep about since the tournament where they lost to St. Joe's.
I don't really think people talked about it then.
So
I honestly think that Texas Tech has been one of the least talked about teams in the country this year.
Yeah. This was a team I was really high on in the preseason, and I'm not ready to write them off at all. Maybe a little too harsh on USC early in the preseason.
I mean, again, they haven't really played anyone over the last month, but maybe they just needed a little bit of time. They were a lot of transfers coming together. Why don't we go conference by conference?
I was going to say one final thing, and we can actually jump into a conference based off of this.
Go ahead.
If the Big Ten has a national title contender this year, it is the Maryland Terrapins.
I agree, and I'll give you a second. Michigan State.
I don't know if I'm ready to put Michigan State in like a title contender tier, but I think they're a very good basketball team.
I think that those are the two highest upside teams in the Big Ten. UCLA probably right after them.
Yeah, that offense is just painful to watch sometimes.
I was at that game. It's bad. But again, like Michigan State right now, 7th in Torvik since December 2nd. So that's a really good those are some really good numbers for the Big Ten. Let's talk a little bit about the Terps, because Maryland right now is 11th in KenPom, 10-2. Only losses are by 4 at home to Marquette and by 5 at Purdue. They're 6th in defense. They are the number 14 turnover rate offense, number 27 in effective field goal percentage. And they are led by the best freshman big man in the country.
Yeah, no, totally. Derek Quinn's been phenomenal. He's everything that we wanted him to be, and maybe even more.
Not maybe more, significantly more.
Elite rebounder, efficient at the rim, block shots. You know, his power and his skill have both been on total display this year. And, you know, it's not just him and Julian Reese in the front court either. Their guards have been just fantastic. You know, they don't go like super deep when it comes to star power, but Gillespie's been great. He's shooting 44% from 3. Miguel has been an awesome addition. Rodney Rice has given them a lift, whether that's been off the bench or in the starting lineup. Yeah, this team has just completely flipped a switch to this year. And, you know, maybe their numbers are a little inflated due to the fact that, you know, they beat the breaks off Ohio State and they beat the breaks off Syracuse. But I feel very comfortable in saying that this is, at worst, one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the Big Ten.
Completely agree. They are really good. They have 5 players averaging 12 points per game. I don't think there's another team in the Big Ten that has that. Let me just make sure.
Yeah, I seriously doubt it.
I mean, I can't imagine there's another team that has 5.
And you know, it's funny. They play into their bench. Like, as good as their starting lineup is, they play into their bench. But the guys that come in off the bench understand their role, and they don't need those guys.
Northwestern has 3. Michigan has 3. Iowa has 3. Rutgers has probably 2. Washington has 2. Yeah. They have 5 guys averaging. Their entire starting lineup averages 12 points a game. And they get good stuff out of their defense, out of their bench defensively, I think. Tafara Gapare gives them a good lift off the bench. Jay Young gives them good defense out of the backcourt. And Jordan Geronimo gives them good defense as like a wing front court guy.
Yeah.
So I think that they have what it takes to be absolutely the right now. If you ask me who's the best team in the Big Ten, the answer is the Maryland Terrapins.
Yeah, totally agree.
I know they lost to Purdue. That's a really tough place to go and win, and they almost did.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama couldn't do it. Why should we hold Maryland to that standard?
And we'll talk a little bit about Purdue. Can we do that now? Where are you on the Boilers?
I'm not like I don't want to say I'm out, because they've lost to good teams. They've either lost on the road or to good teams or to both. But, like, you know, I think there needs to be some soul searching here. Their defense is not very good. Well, like, and you know, did we expect it to be very, very good with the loss of Zach Edey? No, but it's just it's flat out not very good. They don't force turnovers. They don't really rebound on the defensive end.
Jonathan, we need to answer this question from the chat.
Oh my god!
If you were on a deserted island and could only have 3 players with you, one from the Patriot League, one from the Big West, and one from the Ivy League, who are you picking and why? From the Patriot League, give me Noah Williamson. From the Ivy League, give me Bezembang. And from the Big West, give me oh man, the Big West is a lot tougher for me. From the Big West, give me Tyler McGee. So Tyler McGee. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. Tyler McGee, Bevan Bang, Noah Williamson. You've got a point guard, you've got a wing, and you got a big. They all can do different things. I know Tyler McGee is more of a guard, but yeah.
I'll go. Should I go Woodward or Rogers from the Patriot League? I'll go Woodward for the Patriot
Okay.
League.
Okay.
Big West, give me Barrington Hargress.
Okay, that's
And
really good.
Ivy League, give me Caden Pierce.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Gavin.
I got a good guard, a wing that plays physical and rebounds, and a skilled big.
I don't really know how that's helping us on a deserted island, but
no. But if there are competitors that we have to win against there to get off the island, I like my chances.
I like mine too. I think I have 3 guys that can really score.
Where does that rank among the most bizarre topics we've discussed on the show?
I don't know, man. We've gone weird.
It's not more bizarre than Tyler's self-employment, but it's up there.
Of course, I mean it's Gavin. You gotta bank on that.
Yeah, you raise the expectations.
Anyway, back to
what were we talking about?
I interrupted you. You were talking about Purdue.
Okay. Yeah, defense is a problem. I really don't know how you fix it without your bigger guys, not obviously not TKR included in here, but Will Berg and Raleigh Burgess not being traffic cones out there. I think those guys have to be better, and if you want your defense to improve, because your perimeter defense kind of is what it is. You're not having a rim protector, replacing a rim protector that is Zach Edey level is really hard.
Zach Edey was one of the best rim protectors in college basketball because he didn't foul ever, and teams were afraid to go after him.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still bet on them winning a lot of Big Ten games. I'd still,
KenPom
bet on them probably getting a six seed.
KenPom has them. Yes, I do not think that there's upside for this team in the NCAA tournament, simply because I don't think they defend. But again, I think I'm going to say the same thing. First team with athletic guards that can kind of press and force their guards to enforce the ball out of Braden Smith's hands. The first team that can do that, kind of the way that you saw Texas A&M do it, where they kind of made Braden Smith either take a 3 or get the ball out of his hands early. The first team that can do that. Auburn kind of made him get the ball out early or hold on to it for a long time. First team that can really ball pressure will be able to beat Purdue on a neutral site.
I still think they can win the league.
I don't know if I would say that.
I also think a lot of teams can win the league.
I think there's a couple teams I'd say are more likely.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would give Maryland and Michigan State and probably Illinois a better chance for sure. But
all right,
I'm just not going to write off Painter. He always wins in that conference.
Where are we on Illinois? You saw them in person last weekend. What were your thoughts?
I think they're really good. I'll start there. Freshman point guards in the NCAA tournament always at least concern me a little bit, although KJ plays much well beyond a typical 18-year-old. I think that if a team can neutralize KJ to some aspect, I don't really know where Illinois turns offensively, because Illinois' offense consists of just heavy KJ reliance. He's at a 26 usage rate right now, and in some games that has been higher, way higher.
I just think KJ is a killer. Like,
I think he is too.
I think you can give him the ball, get out the way, and let him win you a ball game. I think he's that good.
I don't think they have another reliable playmaker on the offensive end besides him.
They really need more from Kylan Boswell.
I don't think you're going to be able, Ivasic is not a big that you're just going to simply throw it in the post to get him a post touch and it'll be effective.
He's a roll man. He's more of a roll man.
Yeah, he's a roll man. He's a pop man. He's a finesse guy. And,
and he's really good at that.
Not knocking him for that, but that's just like him being a safety valve is not really like what your offense should be. I think that if Illinois is going to hit their peak, they need Ben Hummerkaus to start playing better, which he has a little bit, but he's still kind of figuring some stuff out there. He was really exposed on the defensive end on Sunday against Mizzou. And I think, I hate to say this because I like the guy so much, but you need Will Riley to be a better player.
A whole lot of corner standing.
What did you call him, an all-world corner stander?
Yes.
I saw that and had to try really hard on the broadcast not to laugh.
He's against tier A plus B, 5 for 27 from 3. 3 of those came in garbage time against Alabama.
Yeah, he frankly doesn't look super ready right now.
Oh my God! I wonder who told you that.
Well, I think that will change as the season goes on.
And I never said it wouldn't. I still think he's probably a next year guy, but like he's an all Big Ten guy next year.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think if you have another safety valve on this team, I think it's going to need to be Kylan Boswell because I think he showed a real
other ball handler.
I think he showed a real consistency on Sunday to be able to get to the line. And I think him being able to do that as your second outlet behind, the KJ ball screen offense is not a bad one to have. He's now a junior. He struggled last year. I shouldn't say he struggled. He wasn't what we thought he was going to be last year.
He wasn't even bad.
A second-year player. He wasn't, but he had the Tyrese Proctor effect of he didn't take the jump that everyone thought he was going to. And so to us, it was kind of disappointing. To others, it may have been disappointing, but he looks stronger. He looks more mature. He still can't shoot, but they don't really need him to.
All right, Jonathan, just kind of rapid fire through some teams. There's so many teams in this league. Where are we at on Iowa?
I still have hope. As silly as it sounds, I still have hope.
I just know that they can score. I don't know if they can score enough to win enough games in this conference to make to safely get in the NCAA tournament. It's going to come down to some stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Is 19-12, 10-10 with this non-conference schedule getting you in?
Where are we on Penn State?
Huh?
Penn State or Iowa? Who's better?
Penn State.
I agree.
No doubt in my mind.
I think Penn State is really good. And the fact of the matter is, Yannick Conan Niederhauser may have been the most underrated pickup in the entirety of the transfer portal.
You know how when we go through the bracket Bible every year, there's that one rule about you don't want to make sure that if you're picking a team to go really far, make sure they don't really have unique teams in their quad.
Yes.
Penn State.
Yes, very unique team.
No, it's pressure, so hard to manipulate what they do.
Ball pressure, rim protector, and their offense is actually better than their defense because they make shots. They didn't make shots last year. They make shots.
Yeah, you have a guy who's he's kind of been around the block. He knows what they want to do in Ace Baldwin. Just a really high level guard, one of the best in the conference and maybe in the country. And then just a bunch of other guys that are really good at super niche things that you can pick out. Each one of these guys in the rotation has something they do at a really high level that helps the team, even if it's something small.
All right, where are we at on Northwestern?
I really don't have a grasp on this team yet. Do you?
I think they're going to make the tournament.
They play hard. I can say that confidently.
I think that a team that plays this hard, is this well coached, and has 2 of the 5 best players in the Big Ten, it's hard for me to say that they're not going to make the conference tournament, the NCAA tournament. Okay, maybe 2 of the 7 best players in the Big Ten, in Brooks Barnhizer and Nick Martinelli. I feel like it's hard to say this team's not going to make the NCAA tournament. They are going to win 10, 11, 12 games in the Big 12, in the Big Ten.
You have 2 guys on your team that are like pretty effortless bucket getters, and your defense is a top 20 defense. That's usually a decent recipe to win games, especially in a league like the Big Ten. But like, just another point on them, Dayton, Butler, Iowa, the 3 losses, they've come by a combined 8 points.
We are having a completely different conversation with a couple possessions flip.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana.
This guy can really coach. I was referring to Northwestern, but this works too.
Yeah. Rutgers. Where are we at on Rutgers?
I actually had a friend earlier today ask me what was wrong with them because, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, that seems like it should work. Ace has not been super efficient on the offense.
I don't think he's been the problem.
He has been far from the problem.
I think
you roll out, just to read this off real quick. You've rolled out a going back to 2020, 6th ranked defense, 16th ranked defense, 53rd ranked defense, 6th ranked defense, and 5th ranked defense. Right now, their defense is 107th. I think like teams that get away from their identity completely usually have a hard time finding success. And that's what Rutgers is right now.
Completely agree. Dylan Harper is unbelievable. Like, I've seen him in person.
Yeah,
now.
No,
I think that and Ace Bailey, I've seen both of them in person, obviously, because I went to a Rutgers game. Unbelievable basketball players.
Would you hear
these guys play hard too. They play hard as nails. Durkak, Jeremiah Williams, J. Mike, Somerville. I think the rest of this team is a year away. Like, I think that if they keep this core around, we'll outside of Ace and Dylan, we'll say, wow, this is an Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper away from being a national championship contender.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that I say that 2021 Maryland was Anthony Cowan and Jalen Smith away from being a national championship contender. Like, the crux of that core, your Daryl Morsells, your Aaron Wiggins. Who was the third guy?
Marcel, Wiggins, Ayala.
Yes, Eric Ayala. Like, those guys were a year away in 2020 from truly being national championship contenders. Although that team was so much better than this Rutgers team.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of where I'm at with Rutgers. Their other guys are a year away from really being contributors. Not that they're bad, not that Durkak is bad, not that Williams is bad. Williams doesn't have another year. But like they're like, we also just they don't play PJ Hayes enough, and PJ Hayes always makes shots when he comes in. Mm-hmm. Like, I get that he doesn't guard, but like he comes in
43% from 3.
I feel like Rutgers, as you said, they need to get back to defensive identity. They don't really have a rim protector. They had Cliff for 4 years. Before that, they had, Miles Johnson was a great rim protector. So, yeah. And Eugene, not that he was a terrific rim protector, but he could play. Moving forward from Rutgers, who else in the Big Ten that we need to cover? Yeah, I think we're good with the Big Ten, unless you want to have any other thoughts.
Oregon, anything changed with them for you?
Stanford win is pretty good. Go on the road, control that entire game, be led by 25. Hold everyone aside from Maxime Reynaud to doing absolutely nothing. I think Stanford's actually pretty solid. They're probably one of the better teams in the ACC, which says more about the ACC than it does about Stanford. But good performance from Oregon. Top 25 offense, top 25 defense. Good stuff. You want to move on to the Big 12?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, just kind of go start from the bottom. Oklahoma State, nothing really to talk about there. They're not very good. Kansas State, complete disaster. 3 losses in a row, blown out by Wichita. Now they're ducking Wichita.
Yeah. What?
They've lost to Liberty, Drake, and Wichita State.
Not
They
good.
are
Man. Not good.
90th in KenPom. Achor left the team. They have no idea who they want to start. How many different starting lineups are they? Okay, they've only used 3, but it feels like they've used more. Doug McDaniel has started 1 game. He played 5 minutes in the last game. They have no idea what they want to do there. Colorado, okay. They've done better than I thought. They've, aside from the UConn win, though,
they are a borderline top 75 KenPom team, which is better than I thought they would be.
I still think they're going to go like 5-15 or something.
Yeah.
UCF is 9-2. We haven't talked about them in a while because they haven't played anybody in a while. Another team that I think could go 5-15. I think the Big 12 could be really like top and middle heavy. Like and as I said, I think the bottom has a lot of and TCU is one of those teams that I just think is not very good at all. I don't think that loss is going to look good for Xavier.
No. I really don't.
And they just lost.
I still really like Jamie Dixon as a head coach.
What did you say?
I still really like Jamie Dixon as a head coach, but some like TCU is a hard place to win, and when you don't have the roster, you don't have the roster. I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt with where I ranked them in the offseason, but this offense is really brutal. What's next? Utah? You there?
Utah? Yeah, Utah. Kind of same deal. I don't really like.
They moved the ball well.
Yeah. Arizona State, I haven't really changed my opinion on. They can play. They are hoopers. I don't know if they're going to be good enough to make the NCAA tournament.
You think they're a pickup team?
You said it, not me.
I don't think they're quite that, but I can totally.
You said it, not me.
I can totally see where someone
like
saying
right now, like where are they when Josan Sanin and Adam Miller aren't 49 of 99 from 3?
That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, they also don't play very deep into their bench. I think the freshmen have been really good for them, but how sustainable is shooting at 7.5% better than your opponents from 3?
I think West Virginia is actually pretty solid when Tucker DeVries comes back.
Yes, I totally am with you on this.
I think West Virginia can play.
You're going to lose. We think you're going to lose at Allen Fieldhouse in 5 days.
Even if you have Tucker.
Yeah.
Do we know when Tucker could come back?
I don't, but I think
he on the LJ Cryer timeline?
He might be. That's the first time we've brought that up this year, by the way. And I'm glad we did.
He is out indefinitely with an upper body injury.
You know who else is on the LJ Cryer timeline right now?
Who?
Caleb Grill.
Really?
To be fair, anyone with a somewhat serious injury that holds them out for more than a game on Dennis Gates' team is on the LJ Cryer timeline.
All right, so Tucker's probably gonna be out.
Every single injury question with him is hey, is there a chance he plays tomorrow? Well, he looks good. He practiced. He's doing better.
Unreal.
And then he misses another 2 months.
Javon Small has been so good. I was Isaac Trotter was right. I should never not listen to him.
Dude, is this for real? He's 10th in KenPom Player of the Year right now.
Apparently. By the way, you want to move on to another team of just absolute hoopers?
Sure.
Brigham Young University.
Yeah.
Cannon Catchings might be the purest hooper in the country.
Jeez, this has become a ball don't stop podcast.
Like he shoots 32% from three, but like I swear he shoots higher than that.
It's the guy that you swear you've never seen make a shot, but in reverse.
It's the anti-Seamus Lukosius. By the way, I have actually seen Seamus Lukosius make shots. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's. I think Cincinnati's good. I know we'll get to them in a sec.
They need Igor Demon back, another guy who I think is on the LJ Cryer timeline.
Yeah.
They need him back, but they're probably a borderline tournament team. Like borderline tournament team if he's gone for like a couple weeks. I don't think they play like a tournament team without him.
Probably not. He's
especially considering they don't have
money for them. Top 50 nationally in assist rate.
Especially considering they don't have any good wins.
This international freshman class is as advertised. By the way, I wanted to alert you that Gavin Wurzberger has decided he is now going to continue to drop random questions when he sees us live, similar to how Stephen A. Smith does. I'm hoping the content of those questions are not similar, but we welcome the random college basketball questions.
Arizona, where are we at with them?
Can I say I still have some hope? I know the non-con is going to look brutal. When it's all
they'll have the metrics if they win 18 games.
What'd you say?
If they win 18 games, they'll have the metrics together.
Yes, that's where I'm at. If they are a top 25 KenPom team and finish 18 and 13, which would be roughly 12 and 8 in
I'm not even saying 18 and 13. 18 and 15, with a conference tournament win and a conference tournament loss.
Like Michigan got into the tournament a couple years ago, in a very similar situation to what Arizona is going to be in, and their metrics were not nearly as good. I know they finished 27th, but entering the tournament, they were not as good.
I still think they need another shooter, just guys to step up and make shots.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you live with Delorso's defense and you keep him on the floor.
I love Cincinnati.
Yeah, I need this team to start playing some real teams.
Yeah, I mean
outside of Dayton.
they host Arizona on January 4th. I think that's a big game for both teams.
Oh, 100%. It's a very interesting conference matchup. If you had told
By the way, that is going to be a heck of a Saturday night show. We'll probably have Michael DeRosa on
January 4th. Okay, keep going.
I'm at Fordham that afternoon. They have Bonaventure.
I feel like I have something that day, but I'll figure that out later.
Well, you won't be done. You won't be doing that until 1 a.m. So we'll have a show.
So I'm really in on the Cincinnati team. Their defense and offense has improved from a year ago, which was expected in my eyes. And like we said, this roster is super, super deep.
They were.
Also, Tyler Betsy, I know, we knew he wasn't going to play a ton, but he's been, he's taken advantage of the minutes he's gotten.
Yeah. Jonathan, what do you think of Baylor?
We're going to get ready to break out the line again, aren't we?
The Bears are who we thought they were.
Baylor in 2022, when they lost to UNC, was 8th offensively, nationally, 13th defensively. 2023, they were 2nd offensively.
Hold on. You have to say who left.
Who left?
Yes.
I mean, it was a band of players. It was
Jeremy. Not a player.
From 22 to 23.
Who left?
It was a band of players.
I'm not talking about a player.
Oh, Jerome Tang.
Yes.
He left. Sohan was gone. Kendall Brown was gone. JTT was gone.
Well, JTT was
injured. Sorry. But yeah, no, Baylor in 23, 2nd offense, 107 defense. 24, 6th offense, 72nd defense, 25, 5th offense, 83rd defense. What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
They will win games because Scott Drew can coach, and they are a good offensive team. I do not buy them as any sort of substantial, Final Four or national championship contender.
I think
or Big 12 title contender for that.
I just want to look at something on Hoop Explorer. What is the defense when VJ Edgecombe is off the floor?
Yeah, please.
Oh my God.
Can you screen share this, or do you want to just vocalize?
They are 101. Sorry, in adjusted points per possession, adjusted defensive rating with Edgecombe on the floor is 95.1. With him off the floor is 107.8. And the offense difference is significant, but it's still with them on the floor 121.1. With finishing 70% at the rim. So I think if Edgecombe's shot starts falling, he can be we haven't really talked much about VJ.
No, I mean he had a rough,
been ridiculous defensively.
Yeah, he had a rough 2 weeks to start the season, but he's really figured out his role on this team. VJ Edgecombe, if you watch the tape in high school, VJ Edgecombe is not a guy that is going to get the ball on the wing or top of the key and just, get in his bag and make a bunch of moves to beat you off the dribble.
He has one move in his athleticism, and that's not a problem.
So, he is still a effective offensive player without this huge bag of moves. He's a really, really good connecting piece that also happens to be an elite defender because of his athleticism.
He has been significantly better defensively than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I expected him to do this defensively, but I thought he was a good defender. I thought he would, be able to force turnovers.
Kind of talk Texas Tech a little bit. Kansas, we've talked enough about.
Yeah, Kansas, all I'm going to say is, I won't be convinced that these problems are fixed until I see them win a couple, real road games, true road games.
Iowa State, again, not really much to talk about that we haven't already talked about.
Correct.
And Houston. We haven't talked about Houston much this year, mainly because they haven't really played anybody.
Yeah, they haven't played a good team in it feels like a month.
Yeah.
I know they played in Vegas less than a month ago, technically, but it's been a while.
They are pretty sick defensively. They have sick rim protection because they have Javier Francis, JoJo Tugler, who, by the way, has a 16.5 block rate, and Juwan Roberts. But, they're making a ridiculous amount of shots right now.
Yeah, this team lost a couple, close games, which I think we can chalk up to variance. They are playing Houston. They are playing Houston basketball. They played a slow tempo. They play defense. Their offense, despite what people say, is really efficient. Just because the team plays slow doesn't mean that they're a bad offensive team. It just means they have less possessions than a fast team. But
just because he plays fast doesn't mean they're good offensively.
I think that this Houston team is probably a typical Houston team at this point. Somebody will pull a calf muscle in February and probably miss the rest of the season, and some people will write them off, and we'll look up in March 23rd, and they'll be in a Sweet 16.
Yes, but they won't be in a Final Four because
I'm not rooting for the first part, by the way. Just so everyone knows. I'm not rooting for the first part, by the way. Just so everyone knows.
Predictions on no, let's not.
Jesus.
Shall we talk about the worst conference in the history of college basketball?
Are you talking about the ACC, which will, have 7 bubble teams somehow?
Do you know how many teams are outside the top 100 in the ACC right now?
Okay. I just want to say this real quick before we get into all these teams, because I know we're going to speed through some of these teams at the bottom.
Any thoughts on certain?
That would have been great, but that's not what I was going to say. So the ACC
Is that actually what you were going to say?
No, that's not what I was going to say, but it would have been tremendous if I did. The ACC usually creates their own problems by having all these bubble teams that their fans have to argue for, and not all of them, but you got 2 or 3, maybe 4 bubble teams that people have to actually argue for, and that's where all this debate comes in. The ACC has like effectively played every single team off the bubble, except for like the teams that we think are actually good in the conference.
Jonathan, how many teams are outside the top 100 in the ACC?
It's like half the league. It's like 9.
7.
Okay, I stretched it.
Wake Forest is 98.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford
is 92nd. So
NC State is 85. Notre Dame is 86. Louisville is injured to hell, and they're 50, so they're gonna fall. Florida State is 70.
Florida State is 70th.
Duke is 2. I don't really think we need to talk about anybody. I do want to talk about Miami.
Okay, yeah, we should do that.
Just overall thoughts on Coach L?
So, first off, I don't want to go too deep into the comments at his press conference, but they were confusing, to say the least. You had allegedly guys leaving for more money after they went to a Final Four, when the offseason before the Final Four, they had a booster on Twitter literally tweeting out guys' NIL deals to transfer to Miami, which were worth a significant amount of money, by the way.
At the time.
You pulled Nigel Pack from Kansas State to Miami. He was an all first-team Big 12 guy before you got him. I find it really hard to believe that you didn't have the money to keep these guys if you wanted to keep that core intact. And by the way, it was, you lost guys to the NBA. It's not like Isaiah Wong just up and left to go to the portal to, go somewhere else. But I think he did. He had a tremendous career. He's obviously known the most for March, which I think is rare that you can say that about a coach. He's going to be remembered for, like, the most for what he did in March. He took 2 separate programs to their first Final Four. George Mason in 2006, Miami, obviously a couple of years ago in 2023. But he had other good teams. He always seemed to have good offenses and was able to find pieces that fit. They were always a fun team to watch. And I think the sport will miss him. It was getting close regardless of his team being good or not. He was getting old, and guys retire. But, I do wonder, where this Miami, like how this Miami team goes from here in terms of the rest of their season.
I would agree.
I don't think that, like, they don't look like they're giving a whole bunch of effort on defense, and I don't think Coach L leaving is gonna fix that. But I do wonder if, like, something weird happens with them and they somehow start winning games now. We good?
Any thoughts on Syracuse? Seriously, what do you think of that team?
I've expressed my thoughts to you over text, and I guess I'll say them on here. Like, I see no reason to keep Red Autry around next year.
You said it, not me. I agree, but you said it.
I know that, like, the reason that you're keeping him is because you have Sadiq White and Kyan Anthony coming in. I'll tell you right now that Sadiq White's impact as a freshman in college next year is not going to be nearly as substantial as his recruiting ranking would indicate. And that's not to say that, like, listen, I love Sadiq White. He's going to be a top 20, maybe top 25 freshman for me. But he's going to be that because I think he's a super intriguing, like, long-term college guy that can give you a nice floor on the defensive end right away. I think his offense will come along, but I don't think Sadiq White is, like, saving the program. And Kyan Anthony, as good as I also think he is not saving the program either. I think it's really hard to watch Syracuse this year and justify keeping him around. Like Kyle Neptune, correct me if I'm wrong, was in year 2 last year.
Yes.
It was not even remotely close to as bad as this.
No, they were not awful last year.
Villanova fans wanted him gone.
They were 10-10 in the Big East, which is a better league. They were 13th in defense. They were 37th in KenPom. Syracuse started the season 64th in KenPom. They are now 108th.
And I think there are some similarities between Syracuse and Villanova program-wise, both private schools, both replacing, obviously long-time legendary Hall of Fame coaches. But obviously as tough as those guys are to replace, this is not acceptable what is happening there.
I think Red's job was a little harder than Kyle's, considering Neptune brought back.
Yeah, obviously Jay left that program in a much better spot than Boeheim did. But
Boeheim should have left 8 years ago.
Yeah, I mean Boeheim kind of gave
Boeheim should have left after the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean Boeheim kind of gave him. It's not Boeheim did leave him in a tough spot, but going from 80th to 108 in KenPom, I don't think is a really great sign, especially considering that regardless of what you thought Syracuse was this year, everyone thought they had a better roster than a year ago.
Yep. Anyway, moving on past them.
That behemoth of a team.
I don't think there's anybody in the ACC I actually want to talk about.
No, I mean my thoughts on Clemson from a couple weeks ago still stand. They lost an overtime game to Memphis and an overtime road game at South Carolina, which was one in a rivalry. I think they'll win a lot of ACC games. I think they'll make the tournament quite easily. And I kind of feel the same way about Pitt and sort of UNC, even though I think they're probably, maybe a little better than Pitt. I'm not sure about Clemson yet.
Where do you stand on Duke?
If they're not a top 3 team in the country, then who is?
Duke is projected to go 18-2 in the ACC.
Yep.
Duke's next game. Duke does not have a game against a top 20 team for the rest of the year.
Nor are they an underdog in a game the rest of the year.
Their closest game is North Carolina away. Clemson.
They're projected 5-point favorite.
Clemson away. And Illinois neutral.
And what's
Oh, and SMU away on Jan 4. That's a good game.
Listen, what they're doing defensively is special. And their offense has been good enough along with it. If their offense gets better, they're they're already one of a select group of teams that can win a national championship. If their offense improves as the year goes along, they will be in the Auburn tier.
I feel like, and I know this is really nitpicking because he's been awesome, but I feel like Cooper Flagg still has more to give.
I agree.
If he starts giving that, if he's as good as I think he can be at some point this year, you better watch out.
He is shooting 25% from 3. I expect that to be better. And for as bad as he got clowned after the Kentucky and Kansas games, being a 18-year-old forward that's handling the ball and having a 22% assist rate and a 15% turnover rate is pretty damn good.
He's also only shooting 57% at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
He was 73% at the rim last year at Montverde. That needs to change.
I think,
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on the ACC.
Everyone's sort of, if I had told you before the season that Caleb Foster and Con Kneppel would have played, or I should specify, Caleb Foster would have played like this at the start of the season, and Con Kneppel would only be shooting 34% from three. You would have told me Duke was a top, 15 team?
12?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if I think they're the second best team in the country. I think I would probably say.
Yeah, I think Iowa State and Tennessee both have arguments, but
I think, and like I think Florida has an argument.
I think you have to give. I mean, I think
Duke
sort of have to give Duke the benefit of the doubt, at least over Iowa State right now.
I think you can put Florida over them.
Sure. So maybe I should stretch, like, if they're not a top 4 team then instead of top 3. Then who is?
Big East.
Oh boy.
I saw Seton Hall in person the other day.
See, like, this is actually the conference that should be like arguing about bubble stuff.
I think the Big East is.
It has massively improved from the start of the season.
Xavier blew 2 chances. Xavier blew 3 chances. If Xavier lost their last 3 games, they blew a 7-point lead with 7 minutes left against Cincinnati. They blew a 5-point lead with 5 minutes left against UConn. And they lost by 2 to Marquette. They led that game by 1 with 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 games go to Xavier. They're 11-2, 3 quad 1 wins, and they're looking at top 25, top 15 type hype right now.
Yeah, I think I kind of said my piece about Xavier a couple weeks ago.
Well, hold on, I wasn't done.
Oh, go for it.
I just think they're in a lot of trouble without Zach Freemantle in terms of eventually down the stretch of the season. I do think this team was built maybe better to just have guys that can score and score and score. But I don't know if this team is going to have enough altogether just to get the job done in every type of situation. I don't think they have enough problem solver players. They have a lot of shot makers. I don't know if they have enough problem solvers.
Yeah, and they've also just been completely
the best problem solvers in the country.
Yeah, they also just have been totally unlucky with injuries once again.
Yep.
Like, just happened.
Is Creighton going to make the NCAA tournament? Yes or no?
No.
I agree. Creighton will not make the NCAA tournament. Who is the team? Do you think the Big East gets 3 bids or 4 bids or 5 bids?
I will say they get 4.
I would agree. Who will get the 4th bid?
Georgetown.
You were very quick on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not certain it's going to be Georgetown. We talked about Georgetown.
What's going to hold Georgetown back is the non-conference schedule.
I think it could be Georgetown. I also think it could be Villanova.
Yeah, I'm not like totally ready to write off that team.
Villanova is the best player in the conference.
Huh?
Okay, Villanova is the second best player in the conference.
Yeah, you're right. I think that they have played better since that Virginia game.
They played Maryland really close. They almost went to Creighton and won. I think they go to Butler and they win. They beat DePaul and then they play UConn pretty close. And then they need to get that UConn game. They need to win that game on January 8th. That is going to be a huge, huge opportunity for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because like they might need to clip St. John's at home and Marquette at home too. Like they might need to clip all 3 of those.
Yeah, Villanova last year, like they went 10-10 in the league, but their non-conference schedule was way better. First of all, And so, but they also didn't have like the real marquee wins in conference play last year outside of the Creighton win on December 20th. That was, 3 months before Selection Sunday. So you lost to Marquette twice. You lost to UConn twice. They beat St. John's in here. I mean, they beat Seton Hall once. I think they lost to St. John. Yeah, they lost to St. John's twice. So like Villanova's like thing last year was, they didn't get enough big wins to cancel out the fact that they went 0-3 in the Big Five. And this year they didn't go 0-3 in the Big Five. They went 2-1. But their non-conference schedule overall was still much worse than last year.
I think we both know where we are on Marquette, on St. John's, and on UConn.
Yeah, I was like kind of back in on Butler after they won whatever that tournament was, Arizona tip-off, I think.
And they've lost 5 in a row.
Lost, yeah. It's just been
we should just have a soundbite that we play on the show of Michael DeRosa just screaming the F word.
Well, we'll get one. We just got to get him on during a UFC event. We'll get one.
Exactly, a UFC bet that he loses. We'll clip it and I'll put it into sound bites, just like how we have. We need to start getting some sound bites in here. I think
we should.
I think the two next things we need to do for the podcast are an intro video and sound bites.
Sam, I have a trivia time.
Go.
Who is number 1 in the country in free throw defense?
Is it a Big East team?
It is not.
Give me a hint.
They beat a Big 12 team recently.
I don't know. Who is it?
It is Wichita State by 3%.
Damn. Anyway, shall we talk about the greatest conference in the history of basketball?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we're not exaggerating either. Their net rating is a 20.1 right now. I looked through, conferences I looked through the history of KenPom last week. In the KenPom era, I think there's only like legit one conference that has ever been better than the modern day SEC. Do
you know what conference that was?
It was the Big 12 in like 2017, I think.
What about the 1997 ACC?
The AC, they were probably still arguing for bubble teams back then, but the only difference was those bubble teams actually deserved to be in.
The 1997 ACC had a plus 21.37.
Let's
How many teams were in the ACC that year?
10?
9.
Jesus, that doesn't count.
Georgia Tech went 3-13. Where did they rank in KenPom?
101?
No. NC State went 4-12.
Are you going to tell me the answer?
I will. After I tell you this. NC State went 4-12. Where did they rank in KenPom?
73.
26.
What?
Yep.
Dude, are we sure Mr. Pomeroy had the right math back then? Where was Georgia Tech?
Who was NC State's coach in 1997?
Was it Jim Valvano?
It was Herb Sendek. Well, they made it to the ACC final.
What was Georgia Tech? You never gave me the answer.
69.
What? I was off by like 32 spots, dude.
Duke was 6. Carolina was 4. Wake was 5. Shout out Timmy D.
Oh, and Clemson and Maryland were 11 and 12. That's good.
Shout out Timmy D.
Dude, were teams trying back then?
Looking at KenPom from way back in the 90s is so funny because you've got Utah at 8 at 28-4 in the WAC, Rhode Island at 20-10 in the top 20.
I need him to add something for like every single year. I think it would be so funny. It's like, oh yeah, Wilt Chamberlain at Kansas. That guy had a 41 usage rate.
By the way, in 1997, the first year of KenPom,
Yeah.
the SEC was below the A10.
That's how God intended it, if we're being honest.
The SEC had Kentucky, who was the best
That's
team
how
in
the
country.
basketball gods intended it. And somebody messed up along the way. Probably the A10.
Temple messed up along the way. Kentucky was number 1 in the country. A team in the SEC that year went 15-1. Where did they finish in KenPom?
I'm gonna go shoot low here because this is gonna be obviously an absurd answer because you're asking me this. 17?
28.
Who was that team?
Yes.
South Carolina.
Yes!
Hey! Let's go.
What seed were they, and what round did they lose?
Last year they tried their hardest to manipulate that team, by the way.
What seed were they, and what round did they lose in?
They were a 2 seed because KenPom wasn't a criteria back then.
Yep. They were
and wait, were they actually a 2 seed?
They were a 2 seed.
Oh, dude, I'm on a roll right now. And they lost in the second round to Temple.
They lost in the first round to Coppin State.
I do not remember what. I've seen a lot.
It was 1997.
No. Bear with me. I've seen a lot of highlights of NCAA tournament upsets, and I have no recollection of that one.
This was a 2 seed. This team beat Kentucky twice. Beat the number 1 team in KenPom twice. They lost to 183 UNC Asheville and 185 Charleston Southern at home in the span of 9 days.
Wait. This Kentucky team wasn't the Mark Pope championship trophy team,
this
right?
Was
that
the
was
year after the Mark Pope championship trophy team.
That was the plausible deniability team. That's a shame.
Well, I think Mark Pope might have been on that team anyway.
He probably was.
Oh no, Mark Pope was drafted in 96.
Wait. He was drafted in 96 and they let him come out with the 98 trophy? What the hell is that?
No, he came out with the 96 trophy. Oh. What are you talking about?
I did not know they won the title both years.
The 96 team is one of the greatest teams ever. That's why he walked out with the trophy, because that team rocked. I think they were 35-2. 34-2. Their 2 losses were UMass, shout out Marcus Camby, and Mississippi State in the SEC championship.
Unfortunately, Mark Pope was only good because Oscar Tshiebwe was not taking up space inside.
By the way, there were 3 SEC teams in the top 50 in the first year of KenPom. Who was the third?
It was Tennessee.
It was Georgia. Tennessee was 158.
Ooh, that's like Syracuse level bad.
No,
it's really not.
Tennessee's coach was a guy named Kevin O'Neill. I've never heard of him.
Kevin O'Neill. I'm fairly certain that's the name of a mid-Missouri high school football coach, but I'll have to fact check that.
That sounds about right. Anyway, back to the point that the SEC has come a long way, Jonathan.
Yeah, it has. It definitely has.
It has 4 teams in the KenPom top 10. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 teams in the KenPom top 40. It has 16 teams in the KenPom top 64, Jonathan. It is 25% of the KenPom top 64. Give me one team to highlight out of this. And if you take my team, I'm going to...
Mississippi State.
Okay, good. Go.
I thought that win against Memphis was really impressive on the road at the FedEx Forum, and you blast them. Mississippi State controlled that game from tip to finish. She honestly should have won by more. And I have advocated for coaches that are able to maintain the kind of identity of their team while also making adjustments to make their team better on the other end of the floor. And that's what Chris Jans has done here. You obviously are smaller, you're less athletic, and you're not as long as you've been in the previous 2 years, but it's made them better to get a guy like Riley Kugel, to get a guy like Claudel Harris. We won't talk about Kanye Clary because, we don't need to. But, Hubbard,
entire fan base.
Josh Hubbard has taken a leap. This team is a top 20 offense. They're still a very solid defense. And I think that they will have more success because of it.
Georgia's 11-1. They're 11-1.
Emerson White.
They have dudes. This is a roster that is deep. I know they haven't gone very deep, but I think they'll go deeper now that they have Deshane Montgomery back, now that Samto Cyril is kind of coming into his role. Dylan James has kind of played a lot more than I thought he was going to. That's a player for them. Justin Abson kind of had a big game against Charleston Southern on the glass and on defense, and I think if they can get him going, that would make them really dangerous. But honestly, you can't really get him going because you can't take Asa Newell off the floor. He's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Asa Newell is one of the best players in college basketball this year, and nobody's really talking about it. I feel like Asa Newell is the freshman that everyone's forgetting about. Asa Newell is averaging 16, 6, 1.2 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.2 blocks, 58% from the field. That's some pretty impressive stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm
going to look some stuff up on Torvik right now.
I'll say real quick while you're doing that, the only thing I really have to add here is Deshane Montgomery recently joined an exclusive club. Do you know what that is, Mr. Fetterman?
No, what's the club?
It is the 2-game sample size club.
Ooh.
Him and Dylan DeSue are the 2 members right now.
Very good stuff.
Hold on. Someone is coming downstairs. You want to come on the pod, Blake?
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Oh, I mean, you could come here. We're talking SEC.
What about it?
Blake wants to say hi.
Who is it?
We're talking. It's Fetterman. We're live right now.
Hi, Blake.
What's up, Sam?
How are you? What are your thoughts on the SEC?
We're talking SEC, but do you have any college basketball thoughts that you want to share right now?
Arizona's making a run.
We agree. We agree.
Turning around.
We talked about them earlier. We agree.
Agree is a little bit strong, but I do like it.
We think they'll make the NCAA tournament. That were our words. Yeah, just congrats to Deshane Montgomery for joining the exclusive 2-game sample size club, joining Dylan DeSue.
There's got to be more members.
There is.
There are.
We'll be keeping a running list from now on. We may go back into the archives and try to find who else is an exclusive member of this club. But
all right, Jonathan, we've covered all of the power conferences.
Blake has a question. How many SEC teams make the tournament? I say 11.
A lot.
A lot. I say 11 just because I think 12 or 13 may be deserving, but it's really hard to get into the NCAA tournament if you don't win enough games.
I'm going to go with 12.
I'll say 11. Which, by the way, if I'm correct on my 11, that means that one of Mizzou, Arkansas, Texas, or Georgia misses.
I think Georgia makes it.
I am with you. I actually think Texas may be the one surprise.
I don't know how good I think Texas is. I think Texas could go have a bad record in conference.
Home to UConn, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But Texas, I think what will kill Texas is their non-con schedule is horrendous.
They did the same exact thing as they did last year. They got killed in their up games. They played close against mediocre teams, and they beat nobody.
Yeah, but I think this team is worse.
It is, and they're in a tougher conference.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Sam, thoughts on Kentucky?
I love Kentucky.
Really? I don't think they're all that. Do you think?
No, I like Kentucky a lot. They play together. They're an elite shooting team. Obviously, Mark Pope has built a much better roster than I thought he did.
The OSU game just threw me off a ton.
Yeah, that's
horrible.
That happens.
I mean, I just think that when you shoot 4 for 22 from 3.
Yeah, you're not going to win, probably.
And the other issue in that game was they were getting blown by. All of their guards were getting blown by Thornton and Mobley.
Yeah, I mean Ohio State can
Thornton
do that.
Had 30, didn't he?
Yeah,
he had 30.
Ohio State
in
can
that press
do that
conference. And by the way, Mark Pope press conferences are really good because he will get into like the basketball details. He was kind of getting into it, and he said, "Look, I'm trying to bring our bigs to the level of the screen, but they're rejecting our screens. And when we bring our bigs to the level of the screens and we get rejected, it's a free lane to the basket."
Yeah, Ohio State can play off that because their guards are so fast.
And like,
Goes back.
yeah, like you don't ever hear that in a press conference.
No,
So,
you don't. I mean, it's usually
I
a lot
love Mark Pope.
I love coaches that will talk X and O's in their press conference without, obviously giving away too much. But yeah,
like,
sometimes you will have to ask
like,
really specific stuff to get that out of them.
I think coaches are under the impression that I don't really understand why like they don't feel like they can talk about that stuff, because like obviously the other teams are watching film. Like if you're bringing your bigs to the level of the screen, other teams are gonna see that on film. Yeah. They don't need you to tell them that. Like they don't need analytics to know that LeBron is good. They know that. They can see that.
Yeah, and or you could do the Dennis Gates and just every seven Final Four teams.
That's the best 1-5 team I've ever seen.
Did you know he did that?
What?
After Mizzou lost to Jackson State last year, Dennis Gates said Jackson State was the best 1-5 team in the country.
Yeah, I do remember that.
All right, let's do some mid-major conferences.
Okay.
A10.
Are you going to get out of here now?
Yeah. Don't know much. Cornell.
Yeah.
Yes, we love Cornell. I think Cornell might be the best team in the Ivy League.
Yeah.
Princeton's
still good. Yale's competitive.
I don't know about Yale right now.
What'd you say?
I don't know about Yale right now without Poulikitis.
Oh, is he out? What's wrong with him?
He's hurt.
He's hurt, allegedly.
Turf toe is what they're calling it.
What'd you say?
I think they're calling it turf toe.
Oh, they typically play that sport on turf. I know that's not what the actual injury is, but like, yeah.
No, I heard. I think it was turf toe.
I'll talk to you after. I can't believe I haven't told you this yet, but I'll talk to you after.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard. James Jones called it turf toe.
All right.
I will be seeing them on Wednesday. I will ask him again.
I think we need a body language report too.
Okay, yeah.
Usually this is a Greg Waddell job, but I think we need a body language expert.
We'll get a full body language report. Loyola's screwed, man.
Yeah, man. I don't really know what they can do right now. They're just too hurt.
It's a shame. I love Dayton. I love Bonaventure. I'm really excited to see them.
There'll be when they get healthy, there'll be a very popular long shot bet to win a conference tournament.
Who?
Loyola.
Well, are they getting healthy?
I don't know. If they do,
Justin Moore is out for the season, and Hyunsu and Dawson are out for a while.
By the way, I want everyone to know that Kimani Hyansu was part of a very funny moment for me the other night.
Uh-oh.
My friend,
I haven't heard this.
I was with some friends, and we got onto the topic of green flags, and someone made a joke of if they can name the sixth man on Loyola, and I right away said Kimani Hyansu. I don't know if he's the actual sixth man, but I know he comes.
No, dude, he starts. Jalen Deloach is the sixth man.
I just named the first random Loyola player that came to my head, and my friends were all turned to me and they're like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
Dude, Jalen Quinn might be their sixth man. Well, not anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
no, Loyola's sixth man. Walk on Caleb Reese,
who's actually kind of played well.
Yeah, he scored 8 points against Murray State. # Valley update.
Yeah.
Slew is dead.
For some people on Twitter would say that was a
completely jobbed.
By the way, some people on Twitter would say that was a # OVC updates.
Slew got completely jobbed against.
What happened? I saw people tweeting about that. Didn't catch the game though.
Kobe Johnson got thrown to the ground and it was a foul on him.
I love when that happens.
Now they forgot to box out the foul shooter, and Luke War missed the first free throw of the 1-and-1, got his own rebound, and threw up a prayer at the buzzer, and it went in. but like they got screwed. Now they didn't deserve to win, but they got screwed. They take on William Woods on Saturday, and then they come and play Fordham.
I'm sorry, Harrison and I have an inside joke about them.
How do you have an inside joke about?
You know where William Woods is?
No,
it's in Fulton, Missouri. It's like 30 minutes from me at school.
They play William Woods on Saturday. Then they come to Rose Hill to play against Fordham. I'll be there. I get to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar live in living color.
Enjoy.
Mountain West. How many bids?
What'd you say?
How many bids for the Mountain West?
3.
I'm going to go 3 as well.
Utah State, San Diego State, and somebody else will get one. I don't know who. I'd like to think it's Boise State.
But I would not be shocked if it's 2.
Yeah, no, wouldn't be either.
I don't know if Nevada has what it takes to get in.
I want to like them, but my Alford bias is starting to come back. I'll never get over that tournament game last year, dude.
American, how many bids?
I mean, I want to say like the only good answer here is 1.
It's a 1 bid league.
Because like I think Memphis will probably get in unless they just completely like blow it in conference play.
Yeah,
which it's possible. I won't write it off, but yeah, the only way this league is more than 1 is if it's a bid stealer.
WCC, how many bids?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna go 2.
Can I say 3?
I'm gonna go 2. I just don't think they're. I think there's going to be too many SEC teams for them to get 3 bids. And like none of these teams are like 11-1, 12-1. So I think we're looking at a situation where like even Gonzaga is going to have 5 losses. St. Mary's is going to have 6 losses. San Francisco, Oregon State, they might have 7 or 8, and they don't have the non-conference schedule.
Yeah, that's fair.
Washington State, Santa Clara is not getting in, obviously.
San Francisco, I think, would be in a different spot if they won at Bradley.
They would. They would be in a very different spot if they won at Bradley.
Or they won that Memphis game.
But they're also without Chips Newberry probably for a while, I think.
Yeah, no, I changed my mind. I'm in agreement with you. It's 2. It's
all
2
right.
until Dave Smart wins the conference tournament. Oh, my God.
Who's better, Oregon State or Washington State?
Washington State, but I like both.
I actually do like both, too. I think, though, I would lean Oregon State because Coward's out for the season.
I think that once we get the conference play and teams are actually like, teams have a better feel on like a scouting aspect for you, I think Washington State will be better.
I would not be surprised about that because David Riley is really smart. But I also think that without Cedric Coward, that's a problem.
Fair. At some point, the Jalen Clark injury is going to impact Washington State.
How about Conference USA? Shout out Talvin Hester. We talked about this on the pod with him last week.
This will be one of my favorite mid-major leagues all year. It is.
I don't think I watched a single Conference USA game last year, Jonathan.
Does Liberty have somebody hurt? Enan, right? He's hurt.
Enan's hurt, yeah.
Is he out for the year?
I don't know.
Because that would be a real shame. He's really good.
Uncertain.
Huh?
Status uncertain.
Okay, because like Aquino has been really good for them too, and can cover up for a lot of those problems if he can play more. But I thought Enan was excellent for them in the games I watched. But yeah, no, I mean, going through the league just real quick. Obviously, we know about Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky is having a good year so far. Middle Tennessee looks like a super competitive team. Even as you get down the list, Sam Houston, UTEP, Jacksonville State, New Mexico State, those are all borderline top 200 Ken Palm teams,
Top 150.
or easily top 200 Ken Palm teams.
All right, moving on. Jonathan, what about the Big West? I don't think there's any chance the Big West gets 2 bids because,
Irvine kind of blew the chance.
I mean, they got blown out by Duquesne.
They needed to win that Oregon State game. They needed to run the table in non-con.
Yep, and they didn't. I think UC San Diego is better than them.
Ooh, there's a take.
I've watched both teams. I think UC San Diego is better at basketball.
I need to rewatch Irvine, I think.
I watched that Irvine Belmont game, and I was impressed by Irvine.
Mm-hmm.
But I came away from that game thinking that they were beatable. UC San Diego, I think, is more balanced. And I know Irvine kind of dominated that game offensively in the second half, scored 67 second half points. But that felt more like a Belmont problem than a UC Irvine. Just watching that game, it felt like Belmont just couldn't stop them more so than UC Irvine was killing them. They were on the glass. Belmont got 4 rebounds in the entire second half. They played awful.
No, but I mean that's kind of.
And then I watched a little bit back. I also watched back a little bit of the Oregon State game and a little bit of the Duquesne game. I love UC San Diego. I think with Tyler McGee, Aniwana Tate Jones, Arden Kapich. I mean, this first 5 of Hayden Gray, McGee, Howell, Tate Jones, and Kapich is awesome. The problem is that they don't go very deep. January 11th. All right, hold me to this right now. January 11th, we will lead the show. We will lead Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers with UC Irvine, UC San Diego.
Done.
Hold on, what time is that game? That game's at 10. So that game might be happening.
we might lead the show with a calling of a play from that game.
Michael DeRosa. Sweating UFC bets. Me sweating UC San Diego versus UC Irvine. I don't have any money on it.
I ain't counting out Riverside in this league yet.
I mean, I think they're the 3rd best team.
They get better as the year goes along, and they're already 2-0 in the conference.
I think it's UC San Diego, UC Irvine, UC Riverside, Northridge, Hawaii,
Davis,
Santa Barbara, Davis, Poly.
Yeah, Davis has had kind of a tough go.
And then I think Long Beach is probably the worst team. Actually, they've won 5 in a row. Jesus.
This league is maybe is Bakersfield probably the worst team or Fullerton?
I don't know. Who knows? Ivy League. We've talked a little bit about the Ivy League.
Yeah, I mean, we get to the Ivy League fairly often. It's a super competitive league. We'll see.
I think there's going to be a fun race between Brown and Columbia for that 4 spot.
Yeah, no, we'll figure out. I think
I'll get
those
to
teams
see 3 Ivy League teams for the first time. Actually, no, I've seen Yale already. I get to see 3 Ivy League teams over the next couple days. Wait. Yeah, 3 Ivy League teams in a 3-day span.
Yeah, we'll see if one of those 2 teams you mentioned, Columbia or Brown, are able to jump into that top 3. But right now, I do agree. The top 3 is Yale, Cornell, Princeton until further notice. Brown has been playing well lately. I will say that.
Brown's really good. Brown's won a lot of games in a row until they lost to Kansas.
January 11th, another big mid-major game. Brown goes to Yale. We may find out just how good Brown is in that game.
That would have been a game that I would go to if I were not in Boston that day.
Yeah, I was going to say Columbia Cornell is also that day. That's at Columbia.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun day of ball.
All right. What else? Any other mid-major leagues?
Yeah, we should go through all of them.
Okay.
WAC. I think Seattle's actually like decent. I know that they're 5-8, but like I think they're good. But Grand Canyon's the best team in this league.
That UIC loss was tough.
Yeah. SoCon. Who's going to win SoCon?
I'm getting back to all these. I'm just flipping back and forth between all these. Furman's really good.
I think Furman's really good. I think Sanford is a little better.
I'm currently writing a piece for the website about mid-major coaches with the chance to move up this year. And Bob Ritchie will be back on that list.
I think ETSU is also really good. Even Kurt Lewis hasn't played much, but
so many coaches in this league that I like.
Kimari Peterson, John Buggs, and Jaden Seymour is a trio to know. Big South is right now 16th. They were 18th last year, 22nd 2 years ago, 24th before that, 28th, and the Big South has had a glow up and a half. 30th in 2020, all the way up to 16th right now, Jonathan.
Yeah, and I think it hasn't just been High Point like everyone kind of expected. I think they're going to get challenged for the league. Longwood's had a great start to the year. Asheville's still there. Winthrop and Radford both already at 10 wins. This is going to be a much more competitive league than I think some people thought.
Longwood hasn't played anybody, well, they have, but their schedule's been bad.
Oh, their schedule's been brutal, but they have 11 wins.
Yep, it was a bad schedule last year, and they did the same thing. They were 12-1.
They beat Milwaukee. They beat UAB. So,
Sunbelt.
They played North Carolina Central twice. What the hell's up with that?
Sunbelt.
Not as good as it was.
No.
Do you think it's as good? It probably isn't as good as it was last year, right?
No, mainly just because App State and
you don't really have a JMU.
Yeah, and you don't even. I think App State.
Yeah,
last year beats Arkansas State this year.
I do think
at least right now.
I do think that we kind of nailed the teams that were going to be good in this league, right?
JMU.
I was really high on Arkansas State and Troy in this league, and both of them are good.
I think Texas State is a team to watch.
Yeah, they've kind of come out of nowhere.
They can just score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll rain threes on you.
CAA. Charleston is by far, I think, the best team in this league. I know that it's not going to show in the metrics right now, but I've watched a lot of these teams. I haven't watched Wilmington much, I will say, but Charleston's the best team in this league.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Horizon League. Give me Milwaukee, man. Give me Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee. I've been high on Milwaukee since the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
AJ McKee, Demis Folks, Jamichael Stillwell. That is a trio. That is one of the best mid-major trios in the country. Jamichael Stillwell. Remember the name. We'll talk about him a bunch on Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers throughout the year.
Yeah, Purdue Fort Wayne is the second highest team in Ken Palm in this league, but they've put themselves in kind of a hole, conference standing wise, by losing to Detroit.
I'm not high on Fort Wayne.
No, I think Milwaukee wins the league.
I think I would take Youngstown over Fort Wayne. Summit League, give me North Dakota State.
That's a top 15 team since Feast Week.
Yeah, they've been really good. Shout out South Dakota State and St. Thomas. They're good too. And shout out Trace and Eagle staff for being awesome at basketball.
I'll give you some credit here. You were kind of on. I wouldn't, maybe not on, maybe on's not the right word, but you talked to me a little about the South Dakota State team.
Yeah, because Clough. I thought Kalen Gary would be really good. He hasn't quite gotten there yet, but Joe Saylor as a freshman has been terrific.
Really stepped up.
So that's been a key. And there are some brutal defenses in this league. So maybe Kansas City can kind of come up and win some games because we know they defend. Big Sky.
Welcome to the podcast, Tony Patelis.
I don't really have any Big Sky thoughts.
No real takeaways. League's going to be super close, I think.
I like Montana. I like Montana State. Idaho spent a lot of money to be not good. Sacramento State spent a lot of money to. Well, I don't know if they've spent the money yet. Sac 12, baby. Mac, the bad Mac.
Really down year for the conference, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like this every year, where it's like the best team is like 118. This year it's 122.
Northern Illinois lost like multiple.
122 was the best team last year.
Northern Illinois lost a handful of transfers to high majors, and they weren't even really that good with them. So
Northern Illinois last year had Diggy Coet, Xavier Amos, Zarik Nutter, and none of them were there. None of them is the best player that's coming out of that team. It was Yannick Niederhauser.
Yep.
Also, shout out Zion Russell. Hello, Niagara. Miami of Ohio, though. I like them. They make shots.
Mm-hmm. Cam Kraft.
Ian Elmer is a name to watch. Good playmaking numbers on defense. Shoots the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Southland. By the way, Southland. 29, 30, 31, 23 this year.
This is not a McNeese lock.
I think McNeese is gonna win this league. McNeese is favored in every game.
I think McNeese is gonna win the league. I don't think it's a McNeese lock.
McNeese is favored in every game, Jonathan.
Would you say Duke is a lock to win the ACC?
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Who else is gonna win the ACC?
Carolina, Clemson.
No. Those teams are not winning the ACC. McNeese is going to.
I just think the Southland's better than it was a year ago.
It is. McNeese is winning the Southland.
Look, that would be my pick as well, but I think McNeese is more vulnerable than they were a year ago, and I think the conference.
I agree. They're not. I don't think they're going to go 20-0. They didn't go 20-0 last year. They went 17-1.
All right, ASUN.
We talked about the ASUN.
I mean, we had Coach Acuff on the other day. His team's the favorite in the league right now by a fairly wide margin.
I'm going to say it. I don't think Vermont's going to win the America East.
They look brutal.
They are just bad offensively. I think UMass Lowell is.
You can't lose to Dartmouth by 30. You just can't.
No, you can do a lot of things. You can't lose to Dartmouth by 30.
And you can't lose to a Colgate team that's struggling mightily.
My Mac. I like Merrimack.
I like Marist.
Okay. What do you like about Marist?
Pasquarelli.
I think he's awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with Bud.
No, I mean Merrimack's got a really good system there. It's gonna be tough to play against them considering they're new to the league.
I agree. You know what? Give me Canisius to win at least one conference game.
They're projected to win 5 conference games. I will take the under on that.
They are not favored in a single game.
They are like Old Dominion level bad.
They are worse than Old Dominion. Old Dominion is like 320 in Ken Pom. Old Dominion would be like an 8-point favorite against Canisius.
Give me I think Iona will get better throughout the season.
I think we said
and wouldn't surprise me.
To be fair, Iona was getting better. They were 8-5 before Greg Gordon left the team.
And yeah, I just think Merrimack will be really tough to play against.
Patriot League. Now, I don't know if I think Colgate's going to win. Probably now that they have Jeff Woodward back and Jalen Cox. But, I'm not confident in them. I'm just not confident in anyone else. I feel like the rest of the league has kind of been worse than I anticipated. Bucknell's lost a lot in a row. Lafayette is not very good. Boston University.
This league is fun because there is not 100 spots separating the top team in Ken Palm and the worst team in Ken Palm in this league.
I have seen in person 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in this league. If you ask me to rank those 5 teams, I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah. I just can't wait for Colgate to win the conference tournament and for them to be a 15 seed or a 16 seed, whatever it is, and people like not realizing that this is like the worst Colgate team in years.
I can't wait to have to send that tweet again. That's one of my all-time greats.
Ohio Valley. Contrary to popular belief, by the way, Murray State is not still in this conference.
I have zero thoughts whatsoever on the Ohio.
No, I have zero thoughts either.
Give me Little Rock, I guess.
MEAC. Norfolk's good.
Yes, I love this Norfolk.
If Robert Jones doesn't move up this offseason, I would be.
Brian Moore is too good for this league.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Ings also can really
also too good for this league.
Jalen Myers also really good at basketball. Maybe not too good for the league, but really good at basketball. They're the best team in this league, and it's not really that close. NEC Central is like Central's best player this year has been a guy who I'd never heard of until the season started, and I picked them to win the conference anyway. Devin Hade has 3 straight NEC Player of the Weeks.
Central right now is the only top 300 Ken Palm team in this league. There's a chance that in a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, they are the only top 200 Ken Palm team in this league.
I have not seen Central yet this year, and I won't see Central, unfortunately. Actually, I will see Central Friday, January 24th at Lemoyne. SWAC. Give me the Delta Devils.
Funniest team.
Give me the Delta Devils. Give me the Delta Devils Twitter account.
Give me formerly top 25 Grambling State.
I have no thoughts on the SWAC.
I don't either.
I can't name a single player in this league.
Jackson State is 0-12 in the year after where Dennis Gates calling them the best 1-5 team in the country.
Oh, Marcus Tankersley is in the SWAC. I can name him.
They have Jackson. Have you seen Jackson State's non-con, by the way?
Yeah, they play like everybody. Oh, I can name a couple players on Bethune-Cookman.
Jackson State has played 12 games, and not a single one of them has been against the sub-150 Ken Palm team.
Okay. Bethune-Cookman has Brian Freeman. Remember him?
Yeah, that name sounds super familiar.
A10 Rookie of the Year at GW.
Okay.
Jesus Carolero Martin.
Oh, God.
Dan Rusan.
I know who Gianni Hunt is.
Yep. They also had Antoine Smith? Antoine Jones.
Who's Trey Thomas? Do I know him?
Hampton.
Okay. Probably not then.
You didn't play much at Hampton.
Maybe I just recognize the name.
It's a very simple name, no. But Antoine Jones, who was in the high school class of 2018, he has played for 5 schools.
That's
great stuff.
Good. Helps the mental health, I've heard.
All right, Jonathan, any thoughts on Division 2?
No real thoughts on Division 2, but I'll see a bunch of D2, D3 level players this week.
Any thoughts on Division 3?
Yes. Illinois Wesleyan point guard Josh Fridman, who's a freshman, has been outstanding for them this season.
Hey, Jonathan, where did you go to high school?
He went to Glenbrook North, who famously beat Kansas at home. Look it up.
Second most famous game in Glenbrook North history behind their win over Libertyville tonight.
Yeah, congrats to the Spartans who moved on to the Final Four of the Wheeling Hardwood Classic. They'll be matching up with Fremd tomorrow. Fremd has a kid who Iona has offered. So,
Jonathan, you want to take us home?
Yeah, let's do it. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about William Woods basketball, you came to the right place. William Woods, Into the Woods. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This is Season 5, Episode 47 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Everyone, enjoy the week of hoops being back in full swing, and we'll see you next time.